Jackson. Oh, a fumble into the end zone and covered by McNeil.
Well, hello. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to check out this video. And welcome to the Gridiron. I want to just say, first of all, thank you so much to everybody who's been watching my videos, subscribing to my channels, give my video a thumbs up or leaving a comment at all. Anything at all you can do for me. Help my channel get up and running. I greatly appreciate it. So thank you so much in advance. All right, so we're finally in the we reached the 1930s. 1930. The 6th season in the history of the New York Football Giants and the 11th season in the history of the NFL. There was, every year the Giants were in the league, since 1925, there was a different amount of teams. 1925, there was 20 teams. 1926, there was 22 teams. 1927, there was 12 teams. 1928, there was 10 teams. 1929, there was 12 teams. This year, 1930, they're down to 11 teams. So teams kept coming and going. Oh, you know, there was no, like the league like the way it is here. You know, got 32 teams. Next year, we're going to have 32 teams. And we're going to, you know, the teams stay the same city, same amount of teams. No, the way it was back then, teams kept coming and going. All right, so the 11 teams in the 1930 season were the Green Bay Packers, the New York Giants, the Chicago Bears, the Brooklyn Dodgers, the Providence Steamroller, Staten Island Stapletons, the Chicago Cardinals, the Portsmouth Spartans, the Frankfurt Yellow Jackets, the Minneapolis Red Jackets, and the Newark Tornadoes. Now remember, in 1929, the Newark Tornadoes were the Orange Tornadoes, which is they're very close. Newark's northern Jersey. Orange, it's either Orange County or Orange City, New Jersey. You know, is up north. They're both relatively close to New York City, but in the 1930 season they moved from Orange to Newark, but they still remained the Tornadoes. There's same thing as it was all the other years the Giants were in the league. All the teams played different amount of games. The Giants this year played 17 games in 1930, and in 2021 they'll be playing 17 games as well. The Minneapolis Red Jackets only played 9 games. The Frankfurt Yellow Jackets led the league once again with 18 games. Seems like every year the Frankfurt Yellow Jackets were like leading the league. 1929, they played 19 games. This year, they played 18 games. The Chicago Bears played 14 games. The Providence Steamroller played 11 games. So, you know, there was all different amount of games being played. There was no set schedule or nothing like that, you know. So, made for a very, very exciting season now. Now, the Portsmouth Spartans entered the league this year. So from 1930, 31, 32, and 33, the Portsmouth Spartans entered the league as them. But starting in 1934, they became, and they still are known as, the Detroit Lions. So the Detroit Lions have been around, their name since 34, but they entered the league actually in 1930 under the Portsmouth Spartans. The Giants, once again, they have a player, Benny Friedman. Right, he was pretty much the man back then, and he could do it all. He could run. He was very good at passing, and he could kick as well. But you know, this year the Giants led the league in scoring. They scored 308 points, which was first in the league. They averaged 18.1 points per game, which, you know, back then was quite a bit. You know, for 18 points a game. If you score 18 points a game. Nowadays, you ain't going to win many games. The Giants only gave up, on defense, only gave up 98 points, and they were third best in the league. They had 5 shutouts to their credit. Benny Friedman, the Giants quarterback, led the league with 922 passing yards, and he also led the league with 10 touchdown passes. Now, this was the 4th year in a row that Benny Friedman led the league, all right, in passing yards, passing touchdowns, and this is also the 4th year in a row that the team that Benny Friedman was on, their team led the league in scoring points. So Benny Friedman was a very, very important part of the Giants football team. They only had him for 20 for just 29 and 30. They didn't have him at 27 and 28, but in 29 and 30, he helped them score a lot of points. And I said the Giants scored a lot. They beat teams like they beat the Newark Tornadoes 32-0. Then they beat the Frankfurt Yellow Jackets 53-0. They beat the Providence Steamroller 25-0. They beat the Newark Tornadoes again 34-7. So they were just beating teams. The year before, when the Newark Tornadoes, when they were the Orange Tornadoes, the Giants opened up the season in Orange, playing the Orange Tornadoes, and they tied them. This year they just beat the living snot out of them. So the Giants' offense got a little bit better this year. Now the Giants started the season off 10-1, but if there's ever a season in the history of NFL that a team lost due to special teams, more or less like extra points and field goals, this was it. The Giants lost 4 different ways. They lost the championship 4 different ways. 3 of them were directly due to extra points. I'll go over them all. But, even way back in the 30s, extra points, field goals are huge. I mean, just you look, well, not so much recently, but you look at like 1998 Vikings, Gary Anderson. He finished the season perfect. He was the first guy in NFL history to finish the season perfect and kicking every field goal and every extra point. He was 35 for 35 on field goals and 59 on extra points. Made him. He only missed 1 kick all year, and is the only thing that he'll be known for in 1998. Missing a field goal toward the end of the game against the Falcons. He missed the field. He missed a 39-yard field goal. Choke. The Falcons came back and tied the game up, and then they won it in regulation. That was the NFC Championship game. If Gary Anderson kicked that 39-yard field goal, the Vikings would have gone to the Super Bowl. Not saying they would have beat the Denver Broncos. They might have. I mean, the Vikings were a very, very good team, but he blew a chance of them winning a Super Bowl because he couldn't kick if he missed a field goal. But same thing here. The Giants could not kick field goals or extra points. They kicked 1 field goal all year. 1. They were 23 out of 47 on extra points. They kicked less than 50% on extra points. There was 2 extra points that they missed that cost them the title, period. And then there was another extra point, and then there was another thing I'll go over as well too. So there's 4 ways the Giants lost the title in 1930. They should have won it, but they started off 10-1. Then they lost to the Bears 12-0 on November 16th, 1930, at the Polo Grounds. In the 4th quarter, it was tied 0-0. But then Bronco Nagurski scored 2 rushing touchdowns, one of 7 yards and one 2 yards. They didn't convert on either extra point, but they wound up winning 12-0, which put the Giants at 10-2, put them in 2nd place behind the Packers. Then the following week, the Giants and the Packers played. The Packers were 8-1, and the Giants were 10-2. The Packers came to play in the Polo Grounds the next week on November 23rd, 1930, before 37,000 people. So that's a lot of people, but still the Polo Grounds was probably about half empty, 37,000 people. But the Giants won, 13-6. So the Giants were 11-2. Their winning percentage was .846. The Packers were 8-2. Their winning percentage was .800. So the Giants were in 1st place. Yes. Then this is where things start to fall apart. Then the Giants lost, on Thanksgiving Day on November 27th, 1930. They lost to the Staten Island Stapletons 7-6. and they felt it 11-3, 7-6, because they only scored 6 points because when they scored their touchdown, they missed the extra point. Had they just kicked the extra point and tied this game, they would have had one less loss. They would have won the championship. 3 days later, they played Thanksgiving Day game Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. 3 days later, on November 30th, 1930, they lost to the Brooklyn Dodgers 7-6 on a missed extra point. This put them at 11-4. Once again, if they had kicked the extra point, they would have tied 7-7, would have gave them one less loss, they would have won the championship. So that's 2 ways that they could have won it by kicking extra points, that they could have won the championship. All right. Then the third way, and it'll be just in a minute, but after they lost to the Brooklyn Dodgers, they wound up winning their last 2 games. They finished 13-4. Their winning percentage was .765. The Packers finished the season 10-3-1. Their winning percentage was .769. By 0.004%, the Packers won the 1930 NFL Championship. 0.004%. As I said, if the Giants just tied one of those 2 games, they would have been 13-3-1. They would have had a better winning percentage, and they would have won the NFL championship. The third way that they could have won the NFL championship was on the last game of the season. The Packers played the Portsmouth Spartans. The Packers took a 6-0 lead. They missed their extra point. Okay, but the Spartans scored a touchdown to tie the score at 6-6. All they had to do was kick the extra point. They would have won 7-6. The Packers would have been 10-4. They would have had a worse winning percentage than the Giants. The Giants would have won the championship. But when the Spartans tried to kick the extra point, it was blocked. The game remained tied 6-6, therefore giving the Packers a 10-3-1 record and the championship. That was the third way. The fourth way the New York Giants could have won the championship was, ever since 1972, the rule, from 72 on back, ties just didn't count in the standings at all. Okay, it was like kissing your sister. It just didn't count. But from 1973 on, a tie counted. A tie counts half as a win, half as a loss. So if the tie rule counted, the ties counted back in 1930, all right, the Giants would have won the NFL championship because the Giants at 13-4-0 would have had a winning percentage of .765. If ties counted in the standings, the Packers would have, at 10-3-1, would have finished with a winning percentage of .750 and would have gave the Giants their second NFL championship. 4 ways the Giants got, not screwed, it is what it is, guys, but 4 ways the Giants could have won the NFL championship in 1930. And they just couldn't do it because they couldn't kick field goals and they missed a lot of extra points. And it was that way back then, and it's especially that way today. Well, as always, guys, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to check out this video. You guys stay safe out there and go Giants. Woo!